All right, welcome, 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 welcome to our candidate spotlight. My name is Holly Holiday. I am the president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, and the co-convener of Win with Black Women. And we are doing these ongoing candidate spotlights to make sure that all of you are aware about what is happening with local candidates. Why is this important? Well, one of the reasons it's important is because we know that representation matters, and it matters no more, nowhere is it more important than at the local level. Let me get my tongue tied. Nowhere is it more important than at the local level. That's where I like to say issues really touch the people. And so it's so important that we have quality people who are not only running for these offices, but serving in these offices. And what's the difference between running and serving? It's you. You are the difference when you show up and you vote for candidates that represent your interests, you vote for candidates that are fighting and care about the issues that you care about, then you make the difference between their leadership from the outside or them being able to be on the inside representing who you are. Well, today we have another one of those amazing candidates right in the District of Columbia, what I like to refer to as the future 51st state. We have T. Michelle Colson. She is running for the DC State Board of Education as the Ward 4 representative. And let's go ahead and bring her up and get right to it. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Welcome to the Candidate Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. I'm fired up today. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do something. Thank you so much.
I love the energy. Thank you so
Yes.
much. All right, this is exactly what we need in our lives. Well, listen, here's how the spotlight goes. We will ask you three
Okay.
questions that are designed for the voters to get to know you, um, understand why you're in this, understand some of the key issues, and then have a little joy and a little information about the heart of all of this. So we can do all of that in three questions. We won't
Okay.
be here long, but boy, what we are doing here is so important. So let's get to question number one.
Let's go.
All right. Question number one is, why are you running for the DC State Board of Education as a Ward 4 representative? What's important about this to you?
Oh man, this is so important. So let me start by saying I'm running because timing and preparation have met. So, timing previously, people who are employed by DC Public Schools could not run for the State Board of Education, and that recently changed. So, that's timing. And then preparation is I am a graduate of DC Public Schools. I currently serve with DC Public Schools, and I recently completed my doctorate from Howard University. In education policy. So the timing and the preparation have come together, allowing me to run. And I'm running for multiple reasons, but if I had to choose just one, I think we all should be very concerned about our post secondary outcomes for our students. When we look at the national graduation rate in the country, we're looking at roughly 86%. That's not great. But when I look at the district's rates, we're falling behind. We're at roughly 75%. And specifically for Ward 4, we're trailing a little farther behind than that. So I'm running to pay attention to our post secondary outcomes because we know that Washington, D.C. is wonderful. People want to come here, live here, and I want to make sure that our students are able to graduate, move on to careers or college so that they can sustain themselves here in Washington, D.C. and maintain DC as home. So that's why I'm running. One of the many reasons why I'm running.
Awesome. Boy, what I heard is you care about our future, and our future is some of our young people, but even beyond that. And I mean, I'm concerned about that too. So I love
Absolutely.
this.
Hmm.
All right, let's go into question number two.
What we got?
All right, question number two. You talked about one issue,
Mhm.
but let's talk about other issues. What other issues do you think that you most want to impact? And by the way, who's in the way of making that impact happen? Like, why hasn't it already happened? Let's
Okay.
go.
Great question. So I would say school safety. As Dean of Students, that's my role that I serve in. School safety is most important to all of us, and it's the core of what I do. And I know that so many things happen in school that generate on social media, that start over the weekend, and it comes into the school system, and we do our best to eliminate, to resolve, restore all of those conflicts. But sometimes they still spill back over out into the community. And so it's really important that we talk about school safety and be transparent about what's happening so that the community can get involved and find solutions. Because if students are not safe in schools, then we are at risk of not being safe in the city. And I know that's a difficult, tough conversation, but it's one that we really need to have. And who is in the way? I believe we are in the way because sometimes, just like people, systems can be prideful and think that they can handle it all by themselves. But no, we need to have a conversation because the safety of our students and the safety of our city is everyone's responsibility. But that's talking about physical safety. And I want to tag that back to my previous statement about post-secondary outcomes because that's safety as well. If we're not doing a great job to prepare our students for post-secondary outcomes, then the safety, the viability, the richness of our city is at risk as well. So I'm looking at safety in two forms: our physical safety and our lucrative, our stability in the city is at safety as well.
I love this. I love this for both of us. And I love it because when people think about safety, they really stay very focused on that physical safety. So
Mhm,
bringing that emotional, psychological safety, which we know, it feels very obvious now that you said it, because
mhm.
we know that that has to also impact learning.
Right.
And it obviously impacts the outcomes that you're seeking to impact, that you mentioned in answering the first question.
And may I
So,
add to that? When I
yes,
think
you
about
may.
safety in schools, I want to make sure that I'm throwing in my staff members as well because we need
Okay.
safety as well. We
Okay.
take on secondhand trauma. We put our bodies in the ways to protect children, and we need safety as well. So if we're talking about making sure that we're retaining teachers, we have to keep their physical safety in mind as well. So it's safety for everyone, not just the students, but the staff as well. And I think for Black and Brown people, historically, we've been known for taking on so much. We're tough, we can handle that. And that may be true, but still, our safety is important. And some things we just should not have to take on. That's why it's important to get the entire community in so that we can talk to grandma about what her little baby is doing. We can talk about auntie and everybody else who plays a critical role in our students' lives. We should have large conversations about how they can help and support the entire school.
I love this. We spend a lot of time, when we're talking to candidates and when candidates are talking to us. We're looking for you all to show up and talk about how you are solving problems. And thank God for you for doing that.
Mhm.
But sometimes we miss the opportunity to really tap into the love and passion that you have for the office and for what it represents. So that's what question number 3 comes in.
Mhm.
So question number 3: assume that I have never been to your district, that I've never been to Ward 4, that I don't understand what the DC Board of Elections does. Tell me something that is makes you most proud about what's happening specifically in Ward 4 as it relates to the DC Board of Education. What has you really like can't wait to get in and also just represent that pride and passion?
Yeah. Well, thank you. So, DC Ward 4, I think DC is one of the greatest cities in the world, and I think Ward 4 is wonderful as well. Ward 4 sits at the top of DC. It's kind of like a triangle, and then it comes down. So, I like to think that we are doing wonderful things at the top of the city that will also impact the rest of the city. And up here, we have wonderful parents and community members who send their students to public schools and charter schools. And I'm running so that we cannot be charter schools or public schools, but we can be united schools. I think we need to come together and look at what's best for our students because it's not one system against the other. Again, we have to prepare our students to compete nationally and internationally. And Ward 4 is definitely rich. We are intellectually rich and social capital rich. I've been out here canvassing and knocking on doors, and there are so many members of Ward 4 who have done wonderful things, are doing wonderful things. And so I'm excited to get out and connect with them again and bring them into the fold. Whether they have children or not, they are a part of our community, and their input and their lived experiences and their work experiences can be very, very lucrative again and help us with making pathways forward for our students. So that's what I'm excited about. All of the wonderful things that we have going on in Ward 4, our community members, and spreading all of that knowledge so that we can create pathways to a stronger, secure future for the sons and daughters of DC.
I love it. This has been amazing. And we have so many people out there watching us who are as excited. They are blowing it up. It is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This is exactly why we do these spotlights. Because let me tell you something. And I also like to remind our viewers listen, we recognize that Black women lead wherever they are. We understand that Black women show up and do things just a little bit differently. And you certainly have represented that today. I am so excited for all of our folks to get a chance to get to know you up close and personal. This has been T. Michelle Colson. She is running for the DC State Board of Education Ward 4 representative. And so if you are a DC resident and living in Ward 4, we hope that you will go to the polls and vote for her by either voting early, voting absentee, or voting on election day. We'll take your votes any one of those kind of ways. Am I right?
Absolutely. And can I throw in one more thing? Not only am I
Absolutely. Give us a bonus.
Thank you. Not only am I running for Ward 4, but I am running to be the first candidate. Again, if I did not say that, the first school-based candidate to be on the board. And so I cannot stress that enough. I know that we have
Yes.
people on the board making decisions, but it's completely different when you have someone with boots on the ground, down in the trenches, doing the work daily with my teachers and my staff, support staff. So it's important that all of those experiences and all of that information close to the top so that we can make informed decisions. So thank you so much for letting me throw that in again.
I love it and thank you. All right. Well, you all know who she is. You know where to find her. And we hope that you will do all the things to support her. We'll make sure you have all that information and more. Check us out. Don't forget to follow Win with Black Women across all of our platforms. Follow Sisters Lead Sisters Vote and use the hashtag Win with Black Women, hashtag Sisters Lead Sisters Vote. And even if you don't happen to live in the District of Columbia, take this opportunity to share this video with those people
Yes,
who do, because that's how we get stuff done, y'all. This is how we get the
absolutely.
word out. This is how we let everybody know what's going on and what's popping out here in these streets. And it's all happening at our local levels. This has been fantastic. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us. I want to remind
Thank
all of our
you.
listeners it was my pleasure. I want to remind all of our listeners to like, follow, and subscribe at all of the places that I mentioned. We got more candidate spotlights on the way. You do not want to miss it. Here's where you can find our next candidate spotlight. And there it is. Yes, we will be. Oh, look, we're going to Kansas City. Yes, we want to spotlight Melissa Johnson, who is running as the Jackson County prosecutor. If she wins, she would be the first African American woman to represent that office. And I have to say, I'm going to be a little bit biased. DC is my adopted home, but Kansas City, Missouri is my hometown. And I am looking forward to talking to Michelle on October 15th at 4 p.m. So be sure to join us then. Until then, thank you so much for being a part of this. We are 15 minutes out and we are done. So we'll see you next time.